If you answer yes to these 5 questions, you should only be working if you really want to, not because you have to. Now, some of you are like, look, I like what I do, but I wouldn't be doing it to the extent I am doing it if I didn't have to. And there's other people that go, look, I would be doing this regardless if I was making money. But there becomes a point where you want to know, do I have true financial freedom? And I have a phrase for that. It's called recreationally employed. Are you working because you want to or because you have to? And I'm going to show you how to think about this today. So I'm going to go through these 5 questions with you with a case study so you can follow along and make sure that when you do retire, you don't have that little thing in the back of your head going, oh, I missed something. Should I have thought about this tax strategy or that healthcare thing or the withdrawal or the estate or the insurance or whatever it may be. So obviously there's lots of questions and there's lots of things we go through with clients before we give a green light to retire. This framework should help you. It's a simplified version of what we do with our clients. Here's the couple that we're going to look at today. So if you look at my screen here, you can see they have $1.8 million in investments today. They're 57 and 51, so a 6-year age gap, 1 child, net worth of $3.2 million. So there are certain people that go, you can't retire without a mortgage, and people say you need a $2 million, $4 million to retire. You don't need to follow any of that. This is all I'm doing all day, every day. You need to make sure you have enough income for your desires in retirement. There are people that want to spend $4,000 a month in retirement and people that want to spend $40,000 a month in retirement. And neither of them is right or wrong. It's just about making sure you have enough for what you want to do. So the first question that you can ask yourself, and if you answer yes to this, then great, you're 1 out of 5. Have you dreamed about your retirement? Now, not dreamed like, oh, I hope I retire one day, but dream in terms of actual expenses. But I'm going to show you a sample of someone who has not. So you can use this software if you want to follow along and do it with me, or you can, of course, just watch the video and get a sample from the way I explain it here. So if you want to put your own numbers in, it's all available in the description of this video. You can see this is a couple, once again, 57, $1.9 million. They're going to be 57. You can see the software defaults based off their birthday here. And this is their current plan. They want to spend $7,000 a month. That's what they told me. But they didn't dream big. And what I mean by that is $7,000 a month is $84,000 a year. That's significant. That's after taxes adjusted for inflation over time. But that didn't include extra travel. That didn't include healthcare until Medicare kicks in. So let's go do that. Let's add in travel. Let's say it's $20,000 a year. And for the first 15 years, and then healthcare until Medicare. Let's say that's another $15,000 a year. The reason I bring this up is it changes the plan in a big way. And I'm not showing you this to scare you, but if I just add those 2 variables, now they're on track to run out of money at 90. Why? Because they're putting some big long-term care costs in here. They want $127,000 a year each for the first 3 years of long-term care. Certain people don't, but they saw their parents go through a tough period and they don't want to be in that position. So they have a few options. They could go, we're not going to spend this amount, about $100,000 a year. Or they could say, you know what? That's totally fine. We want to spend that. We're happy to work till 60 if that means we can spend that. And now you can see they'd be in a comfortable position. So yes, they have to work longer, but it's so they can spend more. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, have you properly dreamed about your retirement? If you need help on how to do that, under our software here, you can see there's a bunch of goals. And I put all the main ones here for you. Do you want to help your kids with college? How often are you buying new cars? What about weddings? What about downsizing? What about giving? So this couple has more work to do. I would say they shouldn't retire yet because they just said they want to spend $7,000 a month, plan on some healthcare costs and long-term care. So I'd go deeper. That's number 1. Number 2 is your withdrawal rate sustainable? Meaning, are you going to run out of money? Are you taking too much out, or are you going to retire too early and put too much pressure on your portfolio? So you can see here, this is their withdrawal rate graph. This is, to me, what lets me see if someone's actually in a good position to retire. You can see their withdrawal rate starts at 6.8%. That's higher than I would like, but if that number started at 6 and 8%, and decreased over time, I would have less concerns. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this increase to 8%. So the first few years of retirement are the most important. You've got these extra costs of healthcare. You've got to spend on travel, which, by the way, not got to. I want you to. That's when you have your energy and health. So to me, if I see a little higher withdrawal rate here, it doesn't bother me. But 8%, it's too high because if markets don't do well, imagine you have $1 million and you're taking 8% of that portfolio, 80,000, and markets are going down, you don't want to withdraw too quickly. Now, the other edge of the sword there is look what happens in their later retirement. they're in a very comfortable position, 3-4%. That's not bothering me at all. Now, during these years, they're spending less because they're probably not taking the same level of trips. So too often people will see a number like 6 or 7 and go, I can't retire. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you see a 6 or 7, it doesn't mean I can't retire. But if you see it for multiple years, that can put you in a tough spot. So make sure your withdrawal rate is one that's sustainable. So let's pretend you've done pretty good on the first 2. Number 3 is, are you properly protected? What does that mean? What that means is, do you have the right allocation? Do you have the right amount in fixed income, bonds, cash, etc., to stocks? And you want to make sure you have the right mix for you. So here's an example of someone that their overall mix is 93-7%. So 93% equity, 7% fixed income. But if we look at every account, they're different. So their 401k is 80% in equities, 20% in bonds. Their HSA, for example, is 100% in one stock or other, and then their inherited stock is 100% in US equities. So what you want to make sure you're doing is you have the right mix based off what you need. And general withdrawal strategy, once again, not for everyone, but generally you want to pull from a brokerage account first, because this is where you pay capital gains taxes. From there, you want to look at a 401k. From there, you want to look at a Roth IRA. And the reason for that is the Roth is the best account for tax-free growth forever. So you want to be very careful. If you pull from the Roth first, what happens is you're missing on a lot of growth. So if the Roth IRA is the account that's really careful, we need to be really cautious so that it grows for us. We don't want it, of course, to be sitting in cash generally, because you want it to be growing over time. That's probably an account we want to be fully invested in stocks, assuming you have a conversation with your advisor, with yourself, and you've thought through it properly. With a 401k, that might be one that we want a little bit more of fixed income or cash in, because we might be pulling from that pretty soon based off the inherited stock. So what's the big issue here? The big issue here is the account we need to start pulling from to live off of, it's fully in equities. So the risk is markets go down, and now you want to start pulling money, but you're going to have to go sell things at a loss. So this is almost like the reverse of what we want to see. We want this inherited stock or brokerage account to generally be more conservative, because that's where you might be pulling from first. So if you have those 3 already, number 4 is making sure that you have your estate plan. This is not sexy, but this is often overlooked. So I'll ask people, I'll say, what's your estate plan? They'll say, I have a trust or a will. I go, that's cool. What's your estate plan? And they're like, I just told you. I'm like, you just told me about documents. How much money is too much to pass away with? And what's your legacy goals? And tell me about what would happen if you were to pass tomorrow. And would that be a burden to your spouse or your children? So you need to go way deeper, but you start with the documents. So you can see, I would want you to fill out this checklist of will, power of attorney, healthcare, beneficiaries, trust. Do you have all the documents you need? And does everyone know where to go to find them? From there, we want to make sure we've got our beneficiaries on all of the right accounts so things smoothly pass. And then this is real estate planning. So here's a couple that is on track to pass $5.8 million to heirs. Maybe that's their goal, but maybe it's not. And if it's not, what can we do today, whether it be spending more or giving more, so that you don't look back with regret? And then finally, number 5, I would argue the most important thing, what the heck are you going to do in retirement? What is your purpose? What do you want to spend your time doing? Every Saturday, I release a series called Retirement Reality, where I bring on a real retiree, and they are sharing what their experiences have been like, how they're spending their time when they have a spouse who's still working, or when they retired way earlier than friends. They don't know who they are going to hang out with. And there's other people that just say, hey, it's not a problem at all. I've not been bored. So I encourage you to check out those stories. Hopefully those give you some interesting ideas so you can go live your dream retirement. I've had some awesome guests on so far. You can see there's been an ex-Silicon Valley retiree who her nickname was the Firewall Fox. She was so cool. Martin, he retired at 58 and shares his story on how he's enjoying it. Slava retired at 53 and he didn't start investing until his 30s. So tons of inspiration and great stories to pull from. Hopefully you guys by now have a good sense of the type of content I like to make here. It's all early retirement based. And if you want a custom strategy, you can certainly go ahead and apply to work with us in the description of this video. And then finally, if you just want to use the software that I talked about today, you can see that in the description as well. Please make sure to subscribe and share this with someone you want to retire early with. See you next time.